we do continue answering the past exam question papers. Now, the question that we are answering is a question that came in 2021 that required, the students to give and the clear and detailed, explanations on the concept of strategy implementation. Students needed to explain what is involved in strategy implementation. In the past, recordings or in the past units, we have spent so much time, looking at what a strategy is. We have learned how to formulate the strategies. We have learned the steps that are involved in the formulation of the strategies. We have learned what you are supposed to do before you form the strategies. And now the question is, how do you implement the strategies that you have formed, or you have formed this particular strategy? How do you actually implement it? Now, this is very interesting. And I do encourage you, if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, make sure you do subscribe to the YouTube channel for more insights and for more of such detailed conversations. The methods by which strategies are operationalized or are executed within the organization is what is known as strategy implementation. So strategy implementation is concerned with how a strategy is achieved. Okay. Implementation, turns strategies into actions. It is the implementation that translates the strategic goals and objectives into operational plans. Implementation is very important, okay? Because once you have learned the whole art of implementation of a strategy, and then you will understand that this will entail the creation of work plans at various levels of the organization. You have learned that forming a strategy is one thing. And again, ability to implement this very strategy is another thing. So what do? Let's go on now. Number one, let's learn how to develop a work plan. Okay, how do you develop the work plans? The work plans are very important because you find that as these organizations do, operate, they work, they organize the work. So the process of work organization is concerned with the two major activities. Number one, planning work that has to be done. That's the major activity. You have to plan the work that has to be done. Number two, you have to ensure and put in place all work facilitating tools, right? There are some tools that you need for you to facilitate that particular work. The tools that would include the laws, the strategies, the policies, okay, the budgets, the equipments, the infrastructure, like all the tools that you need so that you can put all the work, in place. That is what is involved. These are the main activities that are needed. Now, you would be interested to borrow even the words of Mark Twain. This is what he said. He said that the secret of getting started is breaking your complex, overwhelming tasks into small, manageable tasks, and then starting on the first one. Interesting. It's so profound. And I do repeat that the secret of getting started is breaking your complex, overwhelming tasks into small, manageable tasks, and then you start on the first one. This is very important. So you need an ability to break down the complex work, those huge activities that need to be done. Make sure you break them down into small tasks that you can even manage, okay? Then those small tasks, You have to start with one and move on to the next. This is very important, and every strategic manager must know that. So now, what is a work plan? Let's try to define what a work plan is, and the following are the definitions. Number one, a work plan is a written agreement there to outline what is to be achieved over a given period of time. A work plan is a written agreement. You have to write down. This agreement should outline what is to be achieved over a given period of time. This is what a work plan is. A work plan is also a document. You can say it is a document that breaks down the mandate and the strategic objectives of an organization into specific job tasks to be performed by members of staff in a given period. I am saying that you can still define a work plan, okay, as just that document, that tries to break down the mandate or the strategic objectives of an organization into specific job tasks. Those are key areas, okay, key result areas. The objectives of the strategic plan, we talked about how to form objectives, and we made sure that every key strategic plan has the objectives now. Those are the mandates given to, people in management to make sure that they achieve them. So now, that document which breaks down these objectives into some key result areas to be performed by the members of staff in a given period is what is known as a work plan. And actually, a work plan is also a detailed calendar of activities that indicate the duties, the activities, the tasks that has to be performed, usually on a daily basis. It doesn't end on daily basis. It goes further to weekly, basis, monthly, annually basis. Okay, so the duties are broken down to those that you have to do every day, those that you have to do every week, those that has to be done every month, and those that have to be done annually. So it's that short, piece of writing. A short work plan should actually outline what is to be achieved, when it is to be achieved, who is going to achieve that, and what resources will be used in the achievement of that. So the question is, number one, this is a short work plan. What will be achieved? When is it going to be achieved? By who? Okay, who is going to achieve that? And with what resources? What resources are they going to use? So a proper work plan has all these key elements. What is it that is going to be achieved? When is it going to be achieved? And who is actually going to achieve that? What resources are they going to use to achieve that particular thing? Now, you will learn actually that the strategic implementation has got the key components. There are some of the key components that you should know, especially about the work plan. The key components of a work plan are the ones that you should pay attention to, and these include the following. Number one, the key results areas. Okay, so first component, the key results areas, those are the objectives, the mandates that you have been given, by the management, and the performance tasks, the performance tasks, or the performance targets, if you may like to put it like that. Let's put targets. The performance targets, you need the KPIs. We call them the key, performance indicators. The key performance indicators, the KPIs, or if you want to call them like that, these are very important. They're They're just there to guide us, trying to measure to us if we have done the right thing. And again, what is it that is going to guide us to tell us how closer or how far we are from achieving those goals or those objectives? There should be the resources that required. Resources required to achieve the set targets, they should be there. And the last component is the time frame. This is very important, the time frame. You need the time frame. You cannot set the goals that without a time frame. A strategy that doesn't have the time frame. We need the time frame to indicate to us, like, when exactly do we want to achieve these targets? And again, we should have the way of checking if we have really achieved these goals. We should be aware of the resources that we will need. It could be the time, it could be financial resources, it could be the human resource, right? What resources do we need to achieve these particular targets? Okay, we should set targets, of course, and I've said there should be the major objectives around that. So these are the major components of a work plan. Number one, the key results areas, the performance targets, those targets that need to be hit, and the key performance indicators, the KPIs. If you hear people using KPIs, these are the key performance indicators there to guide us, indicate to us how far we are from achieving our goals. So the resources required to achieve set targets are also important, and the time frame is really, really extremely important. Now, it just depends on the level of details that are required, as well as the type of the work plan. A work plan can also show who is actually responsible for each of those tasks. Okay, who is gonna do that particular task? Now, you have heard me talk much more about the work plans. These documents are very important. But what are the types of the work plans that we do have? Number one, we have got what we call the individual work plans, the departmental, unit, and institutional work plans. The individual work plans, the departmental work plans, the unit, work plans, and the institutional work plans. These are they. They are very, very important, and you need them. Okay. Now, you may be aware that you cannot come up with a work plan without data. You need data, and data is very, very crucial, in this case. You need data. Because if you do have data, it is actually data that will help you to come up with the work plans. So now the question is that, where do you get the data for the work plans? Now, so you see, the key results areas in a work plan, they do emanate from the mandate of an organization, the mandate of a unit, the mandate of a department. That is translated actually into the job descriptions for each position in the organization. So work plans, they contain activities from an organization's strategic plan. Didn't hear that one. So number one, from where? From strategic plans. From strategic plans. Number two, from operational plans. From operational plans, we have transactional plans. Strategic plans, from operational plans, and from transactional plans. I talked about the strategic plans previously in the other units. So you have to make sure you follow through the other recordings or the other sessions you're part. So we understand what now strategic plans are, operational plans, and transactional, plans. The most important thing for you to learn is that strategic plans contain specific aspirations of an organization in a given period, usually emanating from the broad mandate of the organization. This is the reason as to why, they cannot be used as the only source of information in the work plan. You can't use the strategic plans only. Now, where do you get the content for the key results areas in the work plan? Individuals, they can get these from their job descriptions. Job descriptions are a good source, Then departmental. At the departmental level, the source of key results area could be a mandate or the expected deliverables from jobs in the department. There are some expectations that are made and given to each department. And actually that could serve as a source of the key result area. Now, unit. As a unit, you can get data from the mandate and the key expected deliverables from the departments in the units as well. And finally, the institution at the institutional level, the source of the key result areas could be the mandates again, the expected deliverables from the units in the institution. So this is very, very important. You can check that from department level, units and institution, you have the mandate and the expected deliverables from the particular element. What steps are involved in developing a work plan? You want to learn how to come up with a work plan, but what steps do you need now? Listen carefully. Every strategic manager must know how to come up with a work plan. Number one, you got to gather all work organization facilitating tools. And I talked about those tools. Gather the tools first, the organizational facilitating tools, such as the laws of an organization, the strategic plans of an organization. You can have the business plans of that organization, the policies of an organization. Actually, you can check from the HR or the job descriptions as well. So it is actually the job descriptions, the policies, the business plans, the strategic plans, and the laws of an organization that can guide you when coming up with the work plan. When you have done the gathering, then you can, extract the purpose of the work plan from the work organization facilitating tools. It is actually these tools that can give you the purpose of the work plan. What is the entire purpose of that particular work plan? And the purpose has been known, then you can get the key result areas from the organization facilitating tools. Because you know that the key areas, or these are major mandates or objectives, you can just get these from the facilitating tools of an organization. Okay, this is where you can get these mandates. Yeah, you can get them from the strategic plan or other plans, and then you can know that, okay, this is where to exert effort. This is our key result area. You have to develop, the fourth step is for you to develop the performance targets or the standards. You can still get these from the organizational facilitating tools. So develop the performance targets. What targets are there? And then number 5, you can develop the key performance indicators, the KPIs These are usually identified with each performance target that you have set. What will be your target now? Having laid that, okay, the organizational plan says this, the strategic plan says this, the operational one says this. Okay, what is it that we want to achieve? Okay, we have set a target by this time, we should have achieved this and this in alignment with the strategic plan. If that is going to be done, now, where does the key performance indicator comes in? You have to tell us, okay, we have set this target. What is it that is going to tell us whether we have drawn closer, we are far, or we are not heading towards achieving this? What is it that is going to tell us? This is a key performance indicator. So you have to introduce a key performance indicator for each of the performance targets. When you're done doing that, you can go on number 6 and identify the responsible persons, for each, of that responsibility. Who is going to, to work on that? People have been identified. The persons have been identified. Then step number 7 is we're giving you the steps that are involved in developing a work plan. Number 7 is to indicate the estimates of all the resources required for the successive, the resources that we need for us to successfully achieve the identified key performance indicators. What resources do we need? You can even go further by describing the item, indicate the quantities that are needed, even stating the cost as well of those resources. Step number 8 in development of the work plan is to indicate timing for when the key okay, in which each indicator has to be has to be achieved. That is very, very important. Indicate timing for each KPIs to be achieved. Is it going to be achieved on quarterly basis? Is it going to be done on a monthly basis? Is it going to be done on a yearly basis? This is important. I think you have heard me severally mentioning, about the performance targets, that you need to learn how to set the performance targets. But the question is, how do you set the performance targets now? Number 1, targets usually refer to basically the desired level of performance that is verified by the key performance indicators, the KPIs. The targets actually are to be SMART, and we talked about this previously when we were talking about the strategic plan. We said this has to be SMART. Even the objectives thereof have to be SMART. That is to be specific, to be measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely scaled. They have to be specific. Those targets that you form have to be very specific. They have to be measurable. You should be able to measure them. You should be able to achieve them. They have to be realistic. Don't be highly emotional. Don't be greedy. Okay? They have to be achieved. That is very important. Now, the key performance indicators are a measure of performance, and the KPIs must desirably be quantifiable. You have to be able to quantify these, that is, use numbers to bring out the quantities. Now, there are some of the factors that, increase the probability of successive implementation. Now, those factors, we call them the enablers, okay? The factors which increase the probability or the chance of us to implement the strategy successively. These you call them the enablers and include the following. We have the management as one of the enablers. We have the structure, the culture, and technology. Management, the structure, the culture, and technology. These stand out as very important. Okay. Now, we need management. Number one, what about management? It would interest you to learn that HIT defined, leadership, actually strategic leadership. He said that you need strategic leadership that he defined as the leader's ability to anticipate, to envision, to maintain flexibility, and to empower others to create strategic change as necessary. A very powerful definition. He said strategic leadership is the ability of the leader to, number one, anticipate, to envision, to maintain flexibility, and to empower others so that they can create strategic change as necessary. That's what he said. So the single most important requirement for organizational success is actually ownership and active involvement of the executive team. So leadership must, be there. And actually it has to be execution based. A good leader must drive the organization towards successive execution, and it must motivate ownership of and commitment to the execution process. We are aware that an organization can only execute the strategy if the leader's heart and soul are immersed in the organization. This is very important. If the heart of the leader is not immersed in the organization, it can be very difficult for, for the strategies to be implemented. So the leader has to be heavily engaged personally and deeply in the business. You have to be engaged personally and deeply in the business. That's when you can, execute these strategies. And execution will require a comprehensive